People tend to look outward into space and wonder about all the possibilities of life out there. Are there bacteria frozen in the polar ice caps of Mars? Are there small animal-like creatures deep in the oceans of a planet just outside our solar system? Are there ancient ruins of another civilization just outside our galaxy? What if I were to tell you that if life was ever discovered, especially sentient life forms, that it would be terrible news? But how could the most exciting discovery of our lives be dire? To understand this, you must first take a step back and think of the development of life as a staircase from the first atoms floating around space to humans as we know them today. The first step on this staircase would be the creation of DNA, able to mutate and evolve. The second step on this staircase would be early unicellular life to begin to grow more complex, with the third step being the joining of these unicellular organisms into multicellular beings known as plants and animals. The fourth step is the development of intelligent life, with capabilities such as tool use, culture, and shared knowledge through language. This leads the species to be the dominant life form on the planet humans, allowing us to shape the world to our needs, and solidifying us as the most prominent species on the planet. The following steps on the staircase are ones that we haven't taken yet, although we are in the process of climbing the next step, and that is small attempts to explore the areas surrounding our world, and eventually be able to leave it when the need arises. This imaginary staircase is what is known as the Fermi Paradox, and it was first theorized in 1996. Here we are 24 years later, and the same problems are still being discussed. In intelligent life, as we know it, our nature dictates that we reach out and attempt to inhabit all possible niches that can support us. The main problem with that is that every planet has both a carrying capacity and a lifespan, giving the human race cause to look outwards beyond our planet for an eventual place to colonize. After this step that we are on now, of learning how to navigate space travel, the remaining 3 steps would be to colonize one's solar system, then the neighboring solar systems, then eventually the entire galaxy. This staircase appears to be the universal principle for intelligent life to follow no matter where they are from, because if a species is driven and competitive enough to take over an entire planet, it almost certainly wouldn't stop there. There are at least 500 billion planets in the Milky Way galaxy, including at least 10 billion planets with Earth-like conditions, which have been around for billions of years longer than the Earth has. According to the Drake equation, the galaxy is too vast for life to not exist outside of Earth, so why are we observing zero galactic civilizations? This empty dead space without any semblance of life means that something is preventing intelligent life from climbing to the top of this metaphorical staircase past the step that we have reached as human civilization. This theory is what is known as the Great Filter. The Great Filter is a barrier so difficult to overcome that it eliminates nearly every species that encounters it, which means one of 2 things: humans are incredibly special and lucky as a species to have already passed this barrier, or we are doomed because we haven't yet reached this impenetrable barrier. The Great Filter is either behind us in the evolutionary staircase, or ahead of us. In the first scenario, the filter is behind us, and humans are the first who have reached this level of planet-dominating intelligence. If this is the case, then one of the previous steps was nearly impossible to take, whether it be the formation of unicellular organisms or the development of intelligent life, we may never know. Despite not knowing, we can hypothesize as to what it might be, in the hope that we can rationalize that the filter must be behind us. Maybe it's on the first step, and the development of life of any kind is nearly impossible, or maybe it's on the third step, because the odds of a unicellular organism joining with another is so rare, or perhaps it's in the development of intelligent life step, because despite the benefits of having a higher intelligence, it requires much more food intake to maintain, and doesn't provide any benefits when dealing with predators. This could be why it has taken humans nearly 200,000 years to get to the level of intelligence that we are at today. In the second scenario, the filter is ahead of us and we are doomed as a species. This must mean that the filter is more dangerous than anything ever encountered before in the world, because even if a disaster struck and wiped out the majority of the population, or sent us back technologically thousands of years, we would survive and recover and eventually reach this point again, making the event more of a hurdle than a great filter. A chilling hypothesis is that after a species takes entire control over its planet, it is already on the path to self-destruction, and nothing can change that. So what could the Great Filter possibly be if we are yet to reach it? It needs to be something so essential to space travel that every intelligent species must discover it, so the answer is simple: it's technology. Whether it's nuclear annihilation, rampant nanotechnology, engineered superviruses, extreme atmosphere damage to the point of planetary collapse, or something we can't even begin to predict right now, it must be tied to technology. So this is why finding alien life would be disastrous. The more advanced and abundant life we find in the universe, the more likely it is that the Great Filter is ahead of us, like in scenario 2. Finding bacteria would be awful, but finding multicellular intelligent life would be worse, and finding ruins of ancient alien civilizations would be downright catastrophic. This means that despite what many people wish to believe when looking out into the vast emptiness of space, our best-case scenario is that it is exactly that, empty. That the Great Filter is behind us and we genuinely are the first species to get this far, and there are billions of empty planets just waiting for us to travel to and call home.